Thank you, Dr. Shoaib, for inviting me to the stage. Hello and good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is doing fine. Uh, I'm currently working as a senior registrar in PIMS Hospital, Cardiac Center, and I have this absolute pleasure that I am sharing the stage with my respected seniors and dear colleagues. So my case is about this 30-year-old male. He was a smoker and he is presented to the emergency department of PIMS on 17th of January 2024 with sudden onset of chest pain, and he was diagnosed as a case of anterior wall MI. We immediately shifted the patient for primary PCI, and I will going to show you the diagnostic catheterization of this patient. Play, please. Why not? Play. So this is the diagnostic catheterization of the left system. As we can see that the left anterior descending artery is completely occluded, and there is some disease that is present in the distal course of left circumflex. While on the other hand, we can see the right coronary artery, which is of smaller diameter, and there is some significant stenosis that is present in its mid and some mild irregularities present in its distal course. So can you play, please? So based upon these findings, it was a MI, so we proceeded for the primary PCI. BMW wire was taken and it passed into the LAD, and we pre-dilated the lesion in order to see the extent of the lesion and then plan accordingly. So this was the first view, and then there is a second view in which we can see some antegrade flow in the LAD. Since there is antegrade flow and the lesion has been defined, so we decided to go with 3038 biometric stent, and it was deployed at normal atmospheric pressure. After deploying the stent, lesion is post-dilated with NC balloon of 3.5 into 15. And these are the final results of this LAD lesion with Dimitri flow. So patient was discharged after 24 hours, and he was advised to do a follow-up in 2 weeks in OPD, and was advised to quit smoking and remain compliant with the medications. However, after doing some initial follow-up, he lost follow-up, subsequent follow-ups in the OPD, and again he presented after 4 months with chest pain on exertion and difficulty in breathing. So we decided to restudy the patient, and we admitted the patient. Can you play, please? This is the first diagnostic image that we taken after doing a restudy, in which we can see that the LAD is 100% occluded. In the previous stent, there is a restenosis. And while on the other hand, the RCA was doing similar. It was of smaller diameter, and there is a lesion that is present in its mid and distal course. So after planning, we decided to do a pre-dilatation with a semi-compliant balloon of 2 into 15 to see the extent of this lesion and to decide further. At this point, I would like to go towards my colleagues and audience that what should be the management strategy should we proceed with? Do we need to do a stenting of both LAD and RCA, or we need to proceed with the drug-eluting stents of LAD and RCA only? Or we use drug-coated balloons? So when we talk about the drug-coated balloons, it's always come into our mind that when they should be used. Ideally, there is a recommendation for the European Society of Cardiology of a class 1 recommendation for in-stent restenosis. But there are certain specific circumstances in which we can use it in specific certain patient population in which there is a high bleeding risk, and those patients who cannot continue with the dual antiplatelet therapy. We want to limit the number of stents that we can have in a diffuse vessel or a diffusely calcified vessels or some multi-vessels disease. We don't have any data that is currently available to compare the outcomes in these kind of patients, especially when we compare it with the drug-eluting stents. And this is the recommendation from the European Society of Cardiology, which is a class 1 indication in ISR. We have a definite data in patients with in-stent restenosis and patients with a small vessel diameter, but there is no definite data for the de novo coronary artery lesions and in some bifurcating lesions. So we are still awaiting, But for instant restenosis and small vessel disease, we can use drug-coated balloons, and there are some good results as well. So, can you play, please? This is the right coronary artery, and as we have talked about that this was of smaller diameter. And we proceeded with the lesion preparation with a semi-compliant balloon of 2O into 15 millimeter. And after doing the pre-dilatation, this was the result in the second slide. Can you play, please? Now, the RCA is there, and later on it was we proceeded with the drug-coated balloon of 2O15 in this distal part. Play, please. So this is the result after doing the post-dilatation with a drug-coated balloon in RCA. As we can see that there is a good flow, and the lesions that were present previously in this distal part is somewhat become better. For the LAD, the similar approach was used. Wire was crossed, BMW wire was crossed into LAD, and a drug-coated balloon of 2.5 into 20 millimeter was deployed, and it was used at atmospheric pressure for about 7 to 8 seconds. And these were the final results of LAD. So, as we can see, there is a good TIMI-3 flow in previously restenosed vessel, which was 100% occluded. So the use of the drug-coated balloon in instant restenosis, bifurcating lesion, and small vessel disease is established. But favorable results in de novo coronary artery disease has been coming, and there are some randomized trials that are going on. There is no class effect of drug-coated balloon. There is Limus family. We currently having these balloon in the form of paclitaxel-coated balloon or sirolimus-coated balloon, and recently there is a biolimus-coated balloons are also available. And there is no association with high rate of acute or late thrombosis. Localized haziness after drug-coated balloon angioplasty in de novo lesions does not increase the risk of acute coronary thrombosis. The possible reduction in the duration of dual antiplatelet to 1 month may represent additional advantage regarding safety, patient compliance, and cost of the drug-coated balloon only. Short period of triple therapy, especially in patient with atrial fibrillation and in patient with increased bleeding risk. So the conclusion here is that the drug-coated balloons are not alternative to drug-eluting stents, but they can be used in certain circumstances to reduce the number and length of total stents, and thus decreasing the burden and chances of stent thrombosis and ISR.